Each week on Culinary Confidential, Christina Cates, a seasoned foodie who has worked at some of New York City's top restaurants, will share her passion for the culinary world. Whether you're a professional chef, a restaurant enthusiast, or a lover of good food, Christina dives into the heart of hospitality, exploring the trends, triumphs, and challenges facing the food service profession. And you won't want to miss her chats with some of the most interesting and influential industry voices. And now, please take your seat at the table as Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates starts now, exclusively on AM 970, The Answer.
Welcome to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates. The show is produced in association with my dear friend, Lucas A. Ferrara. We have a super busy show tonight. I'm going off the beaten path of what I normally do. I typically have a common topic with one or a few guests on to talk about it, but tonight we're going to do it a little differently. I have 3 interesting guests on, all with their own brands or businesses to talk about. Topics tonight will include sustainable packaging made from food waste, a brand new top-rated pizzeria on the Jersey Shore this summer, and a stylish little cookbook that, quite frankly, blew me away. But let's jump right in. My first guest tonight is Dillon Baxter, the CEO of PlantSwitch, a company focused on producing sustainable, plant-based alternatives to plastic products. Founded in 2020, their mission is to eliminate single-use plastic by replacing it with compostable, plant-based materials. Single-use plastics are one of the biggest environmental and health threats of our time, overwhelming landfills and taking 1,000 years to break down. That disposable fork used for your takeout last night will take 1,000 years to break down in a public landfill. Single-use plastics used and tossed in the garbage in the 1960s, and this is when they first became commonplace, are still hanging around on our planet today. Even more alarmingly, tiny plastic particles called microplastics are making their way into the air we breathe, into our food, and making their way into our organs. Recent studies have linked microplastics to everything from heart disease and autoimmune disorders to reproductive health issues and birth defects. The flagship products of PlantSwitch were straws and cutlery made from sugarcane fiber. All of the products are home compostable, non-toxic, and break down in less than 90 days. What makes this brand unique is that there are no petroleum-based plastics present in their products, which are often found in other eco-friendly products. We have all tried the paper straws, and I think we can all agree that they're the absolute worst because they become soggy within minutes. PlantSwitch has found a solution by using the waste from sugarcane, which is naturally fibrous and strong. Dillon Baxter is recognized as part of a new generation of climate-focused entrepreneurs. He's been featured in Forbes magazine 30 Under 30 in the social impact category, and he founded this company while studying at Southern Methodist University. Dillon Baxter, welcome to Culinary Confidential. I have to tell you, I think this is an amazing concept, and you're just doing so much good for the world. I'm so pleased to have you on the show tonight. Thank you for coming.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to talk with you all today.
All right, so what was the defining moment that made you realize there was a need for a plastic alternative and that the plastic pollution, if you will, had just gone too far?
So I think, I don't know that there was a defining moment where I realized that people wanted an alternative. I think the bigger defining moment for me was, seeing paper straws start popping up everywhere and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm all for a better solution to plastic, but this is just not the answer, and people hate this. And so, I've always said that for an alternative to be a solution, it needs to be something that people love, that works really well, is truly sustainable, and that they can afford. And I just felt that nothing in the market existed, and that's why I wanted to start PlantSwitch.
Well, and also the paper straws are the worst.
They're just the worst. And it's great that we were, trying to do something better and, help the environment. But again, it's not a solution if everyone hates it, right?
Right.
If you want widespread adoption, you can't have a product that people hate. And that's what we wanted to fix with PlantSwitch.
So can you walk me through the process? Like, how do you turn the sugarcane waste into cutlery and straws?
Yeah, so we have a proprietary process that we developed internally. And what we do is we take these agricultural residues like sugarcane, like you mentioned, or rice husks or any other leftover, and they're typically rich in cellulose, which is the building block for, plant walls and structure. And so our process takes these waste streams, it converts them and processes them down to their core components, blends them with other bio-based polymers, and then that creates a plastic alternative resin. So we're actually making a raw material that raw material can be used to make any of the products that we have today or that are in food packaging. So whether that's cutlery, straws, containers, bowls, you name it, this raw material can be used to make all of them, and it's used on existing plastic equipment to do that. So you don't have to go reinvent an entire supply chain. Instead of using a plastic raw material, you're just using the PlantSwitch, and it can be converted into pretty much an entire portfolio of food packaging.
You know, you're changing the world. I mean, your parents must be so proud of you.
I think so. I hope so. They were very supportive, and I think they're happy to see me making the most out of all the great things that they did for me growing up.
So I'm sure you have a lot of stats on the plastic products and how it's killing the world. I had said in the intro how it takes a plastic, spoon or fork or whatever, 1,000 years to decompose. What kind of other stats can you tell us about the plastic products and how bad they are?
Yeah, so it takes, 1,000 plus years for them to decompose. But the really troubling thing about that is that as they break down, they're actually just breaking down into smaller and smaller fragments, which are called microplastics. And so they're not actually biodegrading into the environment. They're really just getting smaller and smaller. And once those microplastics have broken off and gotten into the environment, what we're starting to find is that there's millions of particles of these microplastics that are in our bodies. So going through our bloodstream, into our brains, our reproductive organs. They're even finding it in placentas. It's really scary stuff. And they're starting to link it to all sorts of negative effects, inflammation, early signs of potential cancers, infertility. We're just scratching the surface of understanding what having all these little plastic particles floating around in our bodies are doing. And so I say it's a problem that we need to fix, today, not tomorrow. It's getting worse every single minute. And, one study that came out showed that we're consuming almost a credit card's worth of microplastics every week. So
Stop it.
It's super scary stuff. And we don't know the full impact of it yet. We're still figuring that out, but we don't really have the time to wait to understand, how bad it actually is. We have to make changes now.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy. All right, so you're
disgusting.
using the sugar cane, you're using rice husks. Are you trying to figure out anything else to kind of use for these alternative plastic solutions?
Yeah, so the technology can be used for, most other types of these agricultural waste streams that are cellulosic. So, we've done development with stuff like agave, like hemp, even coffee grounds. They all have, little differences that make them better or worse, but it generally can be used for any of those types of products.
What kind of environmental impact are you seeing already?
So just with one of our customers, we partnered with Taylor Farms, which is one of the largest produce companies in the world. Just this year, we expect to save 800,000 pounds of plastic from entering the environment, which we're super excited about. And then, looking beyond that, I think, PlantSwitch as a whole will be saving in the tens of millions of pounds of plastic every year within the next, 2 to 3 years. So really, really big impact there. We're really excited about that. And again, our product is just biodegradable in all natural environments, not just compost. So you can feel confident that wherever it ends up, it's going to go away in a matter of months, not decades or centuries.
It's like 90 days or something, right, that it composts?
Yeah, in a compost pile, it's gone in about 90 days. But even if it gets outside of that compost pile, it's still going to break down pretty fast. It just depends on the environment. And that's a big advantage over what we have versus a lot of the products in the market today is that it doesn't have to get to that compost pile to still break down. A lot of the things you see as compostable only can compost if they're in that perfect environment. And again, it's a great step in the right direction, but it's not a final solution.
So you mentioned Taylor Farms. Who else are you selling to? Like, what venues are picking up this product? I'm just interested to know who's making an effort to be more eco-friendly, like restaurants or any takeout type places.
Yeah, we work with an array of restaurants. We work with stadium venues, concert venues. We're carried in Walmart. We're partnered with a large retail brand for distribution into stores like Whole Foods. And throughout the rest of this year, we have some pretty major launches with some of the more major food service players. I think, big chains. So that's really exciting. And we really just launched our first product in major production a year ago. And so seeing how many different venues, chains, restaurants, et cetera, have already adopted this has been amazing to see.
That's great. All right. So, you're a founder of a startup. So what advice would you give to young founders launching mission-driven startups?
So I think, there's obviously a lot of things that you learn along the way, but I think one of the key things is to just do things. I think it's easy to get caught up in the ideation phase and try to have the perfect idea, but that's just really not how it works. PlantSwitch has had the same general goal since we started, which was to develop and provide truly sustainable alternatives that people love and can afford. Mm-hmm. But the way that we've accomplished that has changed, many times over the course of since we were founded 5 years ago. So, the first idea that you have is typically never the right one. I think it's more about finding a problem that you want to solve and focusing on that and just doing things until you figure out the solution. I think sometimes founders get caught in the inverse of that, which is trying to create a solution without thinking about, what is the actual problem. So that's my main piece of advice is just, roll up your sleeves, try to do things, learn as you go. Don't get too caught up in trying to be right the first time.
What was it like trying to get capital to start this?
Yeah, very difficult. So we didn't actually raise any capital for the first year and a half. We had a line of credit from a bank, and we were just using that to stay alive. And then we did our first raise in 2021, which was a good time to raise capital. So that one wasn't too bad. But then the venture market kind of dried up about a year after that when we went to raise our next round. And it was really difficult. I mean, I had 95 investors tell me no in that fundraise. It's really, really difficult. So I think the main thing there is, again, just don't give up. Take each no as a learning lesson. See how you can get better and better. And
but what was the no? Like, why was it no? People don't believe in this product? How it's going to change the world?
No, I mean, I think investors get proposed, ideas to change the world every day. And when the markets are down, which was really the main driver of people saying no, is just, markets are down kind of across the board. It's okay, I like this idea, I like the product, but, how am I going to get my, money back in a short time frame? And we were really not ever advertising that that's what we were going to do. We said, this is a longer term company. We're going to have to invest heavily in the future, and we're not going to be a software company where you make, a return in 2 years. This is a 7 to 10 year time horizon. And that's just, when the markets are down, people are a lot less willing to do that, which is understandable. But yeah, we ended up finding the right partners that really believed in what we were doing and are more long-term oriented. And I think because of that, I'm happy that we didn't get those short-term oriented investors immediately.
Well, everything happens for a reason. Dillon, how does it work price-wise? Like, how does it compare to the other products that are on the market?
So in comparison to any of the other plastic alternatives, such as paper or fiber or even the wooden bamboo stuff, we actually come in at or below any of the other competitors' pricing. So we feel that we have a higher quality product that's also more sustainable, but also at a better price point. And that's where we feel like we need to be successful. What we're seeing is all these major companies are very, very committed to eliminating plastic throughout their supply chain. They're just trying to find the right alternative. And so that's what we're here for. And we think that based on the response we've already gotten, this is right where we need to be.
Oh, this is a no-brainer. I want to know what's next for PlantSwitch. Or do you have any hybrid products coming out? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so we have a launch of products in the second half of this year, which are going to be, without getting into too much detail, containers and bowls for some major partners. And so really excited about that. If you've ever had a bowl from a salad place and the juices soaked through the fiber and kind of got on your lap, we have a product that's going to solve that. So super excited about that one, along with some other things that are similar. And those are just able for us to make an even bigger impact because of how much material they take. So yeah, that's kind of my biggest teaser for the second half of the year, and hopefully you start seeing those in some familiar stores here soon.
I love it. I love everything you're doing, Dillon. I think you're, like I said, changing the world. I think this is great. So I just want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. But I want everyone to know that single-use plastic is out and sustainable packaging is in. Buy PlantSwitch at plantswitch.com. They're doing really cool things there. Is it available on Amazon too, Dillon?
Not on Amazon, but we do have our own storefront on plantswitch.com. So you can just make an account and order directly from our website if you want to check out the products for yourself.
Great. Thank you, Dillon. Thank you for what you're doing for the earth and for the future. Up next is Dominic Russo, the owner of the #2 rated Jersey Shore pizzeria this summer, Squares and Fair. I love this guy, and I know you will too. So stay tuned. You're listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970 The Answer.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Welcome back to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970 The Answer.
Welcome back to the show. I'm joined now by Dominic Russo, who is the owner of Squares and Fair, which is a new top-rated pizzeria along the Jersey Shore this summer. I mean, say what you want about Jersey, but we're no stranger to a great pie, so this is a huge accomplishment for your first venture.
It's been an adventure. We started 4 years ago out of the house, out of a little Whirlpool oven, just packing out some pies that I wanted to eat and share with my friends and family. Now we're to the point, we have a great team here. Kevin, Hernan, Matthew, my guys, cranking out amazing pies day after day, and just we take it seriously. We want to be competitive. We want to be named amongst the best, and fortunately, the guests have enjoyed the food. So
Wait, but
far,
I
so
heard
good. We're into a great summer.
I heard it started in your garage or something during COVID. Is that true?
Well, I did the cooking in my kitchen at the house. So I was making all my dough in the basement. We had them all going out, doing all my doughs by hand. In the beginning, we were doing about 10 pies a night, one every half an hour. And I just kind of kept on going. It was a lot of fun to do. And it's great having friends over and family and people enjoying the food. But when strangers started showing up to the house for the pies and ordering on our website, that's when it was like, oh, my God, I think maybe we could go somewhere with this.
Yeah, so word got out.
But we did all out of the house, 4 years out of my wife Joanne's kitchen. And we made it happen.
That's great. All right, so Squares and Fair, it's located at 7 East New Jersey Ave in Somers Point, New Jersey. Where is that, Dom? That's like by Atlantic City, like all the way down the shore?
So we're exit 30 off of the Parkway. So if we're closer to Ocean City.
Oh, okay.
Like Ocean City, Margate, but generally we're probably maybe 15 minutes outside of Atlantic City. So if you're in the area, it's a quick stop, expressway to the Parkway, and pop right off. Come see us. We're right there.
I know. I got to get there too. I told you that.
We're down the street from the beach.
That's
nice.
good. Take a pie to the beach with you. All right, but let's talk about this pie. It's a square pie, so you're not doing any round pies at your pizzeria.
No, we're not. So we do a 14 by 14 square pie. It's kind of like focaccia and a Sicilian style and a pan pizza. If you think kind of old school Pizza Hut bucket program pizza, like that little personal pan. That's kind of what we're going for.
Oh, that sounds great. All right, so what are the different pies? Like, do you have like a grandma pie, a traditional pie? Everyone's doing vodka pies now.
Yep. So it's our first pie, the one that we started off from the very beginning, was just a traditional Jersey Fresh tomato sauce, a little fennel, a little olive oil, a little salt, some garlic. We roast the garlic. We roast it like 275, really slow for about 2 hours, so it comes out just perfect.
Ooh, yeah, nice and
that's
sweet.
pretty much the base of our sauce. Nothing too complicated. Just we're really fortunate where we are. We're about 45 minutes away from where they can all the Jersey tomatoes, and it's almost like our own DOP product. We're really lucky to have it, and people like it. They love it. And when I was starting off with that recipe, at the time, my daughter, my older one, she was about 2, and I just kept changing the sauce until she finally liked it. Once she did, we have a picture of her with an espresso cup sipping the sauce. Once we nailed it, that was it. I never changed it. So everybody over the years who's enjoyed the traditional pie has the palate of a 2-year-old to thank for it. So that's the one closest to my heart, that pie.
Well, that's great. And when you say squares and fare, what's the other fare that you're offering?
Well, I didn't want to be like Dom's Pizzeria or something where, we're kind of set in a certain mindset. When people hear pizzeria, they're thinking, sandwich, pizza, fries.
Yeah, the standard.
I wanted to be able to branch out and do other things. If there are different sandwiches we'd like to do, different salads we'd like to do. I love pasta. If I go through a pasta phase, my wife is an amazing baker. Her cookies are actually one of the best things about our company. I mean, my God, we started doing her cookies probably a year after we started doing the pizza. And we nearly became a cookie shop that just happens to sell pizza.
Wow.
I mean, three different kinds of chocolate, toasted sugar, brown butter. I mean, unbelievable. Just fantastic. So all these kinds of things I want to be able to do. She's made this blueberry pie. She makes her own crust, finished off with some lemon zest and Parmigiano. And, oh, my God, it's unbelievable. And, I want Matthew, my one guy, Matthew, he's a first-year culinary student, makes amazing cookies, amazing baker. And, I just want to be able to do a lot of different things. And for people that work here to be able to, there's so much food out there. Like, why just do pizza?
Right.
Thank God for it. Pizza, may put us where we are, and people love it.
Okay, so
I'm 37, so who knows where we could go for it. But generally, let's just say sandwiches and meatballs in the future. I think that's fair to say.
Okay, but you're doing the pies, but is the rest of the menu changing, like, seasonally? Or because you're bringing things on, pasta, sandwiches, cookies, what are the staples?
That's a while away, but for the pizzas, sticking to the pizzas, we have our vodka sauce, which is very nice. It's like 40% Parmigiano. We caramelize onions, blow it up in the Vitamix, and it's very, very smooth. We have a pie that goes along with that. It's a black truffle. So we take our vodka pie and we add burrata, and we add the black truffle oil to it, and it's just...
That sounds amazing.
It's like it's velvet, and, the truffle oil, when the true flavors are released through heat. So when the pie comes out and the oil hits it and the customer is standing there and they're smelling this, it takes over the whole shop. It's unbelievable. So it's for the same reason that we put basil on our pies. We want the aroma to take over. We want the flavors to take over. We want it to be, we have all these senses.
Yeah.
Even the sound of the pizza crunching when we cut it. We put a lot of time into the dough, these very specific things. And when I'm in the back of the restaurant and Kevin is cutting the pizza, I want to hear that crunch. I want to hear it every single time, and the customer does too. And it's just that whole experience that we want to deliver. We have an open kitchen. People see the whole process. Pies being built. They see them going into the oven, coming in, going out of the pan, back in to be finished off. We have Kevin right there. He's chit-chatting with everybody. We're grating the Parmigiano over. We want it to be a full experience for people. And in that way, the vodka pie and a burrata, we achieve that.
That's great.
The same way as the visual of our pepperonis coming out, these perfect cupped pepperoni. They oh, my God. I'm not a big pepperoni person. But, man, the smell of them, the way they looked with this really nice dark char around the edges, it's just...
Wow, you're really selling this, Dom.
It's so nice. I know. I'm, every single pie we put on the menu goes through so much testing over the years, and we're always making little changes. And we're very fortunate. People are driving an hour to come and try our pies. People are coming here for their kids' birthdays. We have to get these things right. We have to be consistent every single time. And it's just, I get to do this. So if I'm going to get to do this, I need to do it the best way possible, and my team does too. And we're all in on it. So.
Wait, so Dom, what was your reaction when you found out you were voted best pizzeria on the Jersey Shore for the 2025 season?
So I got a text message from one of our customers, and I got in the car. I happened to be off that day. I got in the car and drove right to my wife's school. I texted her boss, said, "Hey, don't let anybody talk to Joanne. Please." I got there in like 15 minutes. Security lets me in. I go in her classroom, and I just showed her on my phone. I said, "We did it," and it was awesome. I cried halfway to the school. I couldn't believe it.
Tom.
I couldn't believe it. And then this weekend, we were in Philadelphia Inquirer. Craig LeBand we had a great write up, and it's just there's nothing like it. All the work that
the hard work is paying off.
And my parents. My uncles Eric and Lee, all the time. My parents. I mean, it's been years of me wanting to do this. So all these things, these top whatever lists, and to be fair, we were number 2, but they put our photo at the top, so it kind of looked like it. But Queen City and LBI, amazing pizza shop, incredibly talented guys, totally deserve it. But all these, all the accolades and the people really enjoying the food and the nice Google reviews and people coming in with their kids and making memories. There's nothing like it. There's really nothing like it. I mean, I'm bowling dough and talking to you.
Oh, you're working right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, people do it every day. It's what we do. And I love it. I get to do something I love to do. It's just...
Tom, you mentioned your uncles, Lee and Eric. They have the restaurant in Bridgehampton, Almond. How influential were they, like 2 hospitality individuals, in you wanting to create your own restaurant?
So my mom, Eric and my mom are first cousins, and my grandfather, my papu, is his mom's brother. So Greek Easter and going up to visit all these years when they lived in the city and going to lunch when Eric had lunch. I mean, I must have been 12 years old. And just seeing the way he worked the room and the way he took care of people. And even things like, farm to table. I never heard this. I was a kid. This is like my first time seeing something like this. And my grandfather was a gardener. And, my grandfather had an ice cream store. And there's just something about our family that we like to take care of people. And it was just such an influence to see, what we can do if we work hard. I mean, Eric's one of the hardest working people I know.
Right. I mean, that's why his restaurants are so successful. So did you work in hospitality before opening the pizzeria?
So as a kid, I worked in pizza shops. I worked 2 or 3, making dough, being a boss boy, working dishwashing and things like that. 2006, I mean, I was probably a year out of college. Italy was making their run in the World Cup. And there was nothing like it. I was working in the kitchen. We're having so much fun. The chef was the Italian guy, Joe Trauma, and it was a blast. And it really got into me. And it was something I really, really had fun doing and loved doing and dealing with people. And it was awesome. It was a great time. And, pizza kind of brought me back to it after all these years. And just kind of trial by error and learning how to do this and really just leaning on my uncles and how to...
Yeah, they helped guide you, I know, for
all
sure.
All these little things. Yeah, and all the little stuff, getting payroll right, getting scheduling done. Not just focus on what's in front of you, but where we're going, where we want to be, what kind of restaurants do we want to be? Do we want to be mom and pop? Do we want to be a big place,
bigger picture.
All the things that you don't think of. Yeah, and, I mean, the restaurant is beautiful.
So your dough, the dough that you're famous for this square pie, how long are you making it ahead of time? Does it have to sit and rise and rest for a while? Because I heard you're making dough all night long. That's the word on the street.
Yeah, right now during the summertime, we're working around this crazy heat we've been having. So yeah, get in here at 4 o'clock while it's cool and get knock out a few batches of dough and then wrap them up, pop them in the walk-in. 48 hours later, we have a beautiful dough. We take it out, open it up, let it proof for a couple hours.
Wait, when you said 4 o'clock, you meant 4 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, just because of the winds, because, it's so hot here in the afternoon.
Yeah.
The humidity makes the doughs go crazy. So if I get here early enough, I can beat all of that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, Dominic, I can't...
Anybody who makes bagels is going to have this this lifestyle.
Same problem.
But it's worth it. It's worth it. But, I make dough all day. I sit in air conditioning, hang out with nice people. It's a pretty good deal. It's a pretty good life.
It's a nice gig if you can get it. All right, go see Dominic Russo and Squares and Fare, located at 7 East New Jersey Ave in Somers Point, New Jersey. Dominic, thank you for your time tonight. I can't wait to come down and get a slice.
Please do. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Okay, we're going to head to commercial break. Stay tuned. You're listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970 The Answer.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Welcome back to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970, The Answer.
Welcome back to the show. I'm joined now by Jodi Moreno, who is a James Beard-nominated chef and has a cookbook available now called Simple Pleasures. This book captures life's simple pleasures with easy-to-make and highly craveable comfort recipes. Jodi, welcome to the show. I get sent a lot of cookbooks. They make their way to me, and I look through all of them, but yours I was so impressed with. I found every recipe to be fantastic, just simply elevated and approachable. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I know food was the center of your life growing up. I read a lot about you before tonight's show. You've talked about how every major moment and milestone was somehow surrounded by food. How much did that inspire you to get into cooking?
I mean, I think that was my family, and growing up around all this home cooking was my biggest inspiration for what I do today. My grandparents, they were immigrants from Italy, and I kind of grew up with, they had, a little garden in the back. My grandmother used to make fresh pasta on the weekends. And I thought that everyone's grandparents were, these amazing cooks. And I think as I got older and I was, spending more time on my own, I started to realize that was something really special about my growing up, and it started shaping and inspiring me to be in the kitchen myself.
So you're originally from New York, but you live in Mexico City now?
Yes, I'm a little bit between the two, but I've been spending the past 5 years or so in Mexico working and learning. It was a place I kind of fell in love with the food and the culture, and it's been an amazing experience. But New York is still home, but Mexico kind of has my heart now.
Well, Mexico City is like a foodie, a gastronomy, heartbeat of the world.
Yeah, it truly is. I mean, and one of the most interesting parts about it is that you could have the best meal, and for less than $1, you're eating the most amazing things. It's really special, and the care and the love that people there put into their food, whether it's just like a taco stand or their restaurant or home cooked meal, is something that I think also really resonated with me. And I feel like, growing up with these Italian grandparents, there's a lot of similarities between those two cultures and how they have just this love around food and feeding their family and people. And also just the simplistic approach, high quality ingredients just done very simply. Exactly. All right, so let's talk about the book, the cookbook, Simple Pleasures. What was your inspiration for this book? Because it's kind of like fancy comfort food. Exactly. So, after my first cookbook, which was called More with Less. I was traveling a lot. I was went back more into kitchens, and I was kind of spending some time just getting more back to my roots and what foods really inspired me and made me happy. And then it was around March of 2020 when I kind of got stuck in Mexico for work reasons, and it, ended up staying there much longer, obviously. But it was during that time that I started, cooking and experimenting solely for myself. And I had never really cooked like that, just for myself without anyone else to either entertain or wants or needs to think of. And it started, really making me remember these foods that make me happy, these foods that I grew up with. And a lot of it was just more like comfort foods. So things like, my grandmother's bolognese or like a milanesa, or even these, in the book, there's a recipe for a layered salad that my mom used to do that I could still taste, all the flavors and textures and stuff that she used to bring to that. So I wanted to just recreate those recipes in a more modern way and bring them to life. And that's how the book came to be.
So what I loved about your book is, a lot of times these cookbooks, I'll look through them and there's a couple things that I like in there, but it's not enough to make me want to have the whole book. But all of your recipes I found to be intriguing and something that I could make every day. You have asparagus, cacio e pepe. I think that's a genius idea. Sesame crusted brown butter banana bread with creme fraiche, which maybe people don't know you can use creme fraiche in a banana bread. And that's really creative. Crispy skinned chicken with ginger scallion sauce. My kids would love that. So every recipe in here is a home run. This is one of those books you should be buying and keeping on your kitchen counter for a weeknight easy dinner. But
that makes me so happy.
You describe your food, though, as clean and comforting. And I want to know, how do you balance the health and indulgence? Because you get both with most of these recipes.
Yeah. And I think that, I've been, throughout my career in food, I spent a lot of time also in the wellness space. And I really just think that food is, when you cook at home, the food is inherently healthier. You're choosing ingredients, you're usually cooking with better ingredients like, olive oils. And I don't know, I just think that you don't have to, when it comes to being healthy, when you cook at home, it just generally inherently is. And I think with these recipes, there's also a simplicity to them. And so I think, when you're using, you're not also using a ton of ingredients and you're just enhancing with things like spices and textures. That, too, is another way to kind of make it a little bit healthier without adding a lot of others that are less healthy.
So there's two things I really want to make out of your cookbook. First is the pickle potato salad with crispy mortadella. That sounds like a banger. And celery Caesar salad with bacon breadcrumbs. Oh, my goodness.
Yes. And that one is so interesting because I mentioned in the head note there that something like a Caesar salad, make it perfectly, not alter something that's already, done so well. But in that one, I really believe that those two little additions really make the whole dish just slightly more elevated.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite recipe in that book?
Oh my gosh.
You got to pick one.
Okay. So this is something I've been making for, it's what my grandmother used to make every Sunday. And it's basically the tomato sauce with the anchovy breadcrumbs and the crispy basil. That's something I make probably at least once a week. It's my happy food. If you were to ask me what would your last meal would be, it would be this. It's just, I love how simple it is. And just, if you can also get the tomatoes super fresh, there's so few ingredients, and it's so amazing how these tomatoes transform into this just kind of magical, nostalgic sauce for me.
That sounds awesome.
So, and I'm actually really happy too, because I feel like a lot, when I see people, for example, on social media that repost recipes that they're making, that seems to be the one that people have been making the most, which I've been really fascinated by.
It's a fan favorite. All right, but you do have a background in photography and design, right? You were a food stylist even for Veuve Clicquot, Dom Perignon, West Elm, KitchenAid. Do you think like working with those brands gave you a leg up on how to make a sleek and sexy cookbook?
I think so, yes. I think what I've learned through this, before I went to culinary school, I studied art, visual performing arts, and I feel there's so much inherent connection between beauty and art and romance and food, and that's the way I see it. And I do feel like I've always been inspired by the beauty of food, and so that always inspired my styling, and then vice versa, my styling then. And my work with those clients and stuff has definitely pushed my photography and the design of anything that I've done. So,
where did you go to culinary school?
So I went to a program at the ICE in New York.
Oh, New York, yeah.
I don't think that it's around anymore, but I did a nights and weekend program when I was working full time, because this is like just a funny quick story, but my family was not at all pleased with me going to culinary school. They were like, no, we teach you how to cook. You don't go to school for that. That's what we could teach you whatever you need to know. Why are you going to pay someone for this? And I'm like, no, like I think I really want to
pursue that. Yeah,
pursue this as a career. And so I did it lightly. So I kept working while I did like a nights and weekends program. And then once I finished that, I was like, this is 100% what I want to do. And I just kind of went for it. So
I love it. All right. We're nearing the end of our time together. So I want to know, what's one simple pleasure in the kitchen that always makes you happy?
Oh, gosh. Just the smell of delicious food being cooked, whether it's, like that tomato sauce I said, or bacon cooking in the morning, or onions, sizzling in a pan. Just that to me is happiness and simple pleasures.
All right, what's next for Jodi Moreno?
Well, right now I'm back in New York and doing a lot of events around the book where we're showcasing the recipes and doing dinners, and then
press tour.
I have a new book in mind that I started outlining. Yeah, I don't know if I can say anything yet. But,
all right, well, make sure it makes its way to me, please.
For sure.
All right, so that's Jodi Moreno. She has the amazing cookbook, and I don't say this often. It's an amazing cookbook, Simple Pleasures. Every recipe in there is fantastic. So go pick up your copy. Where can people get it, Jodi?
You can get it in all the major bookstores for sure, and the online retailers, everything from, the bigger ones to even the smaller independent sites. And I've seen it a lot in some stores. People have been posting pictures. I don't know exactly where, but I think you should be able to find it pretty easily. Or online, you can just type in Simple Pleasures and find it there.
Perfect. Okay, thank you for listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. on AM 970 The Answer. Tune in next week for a show with the famous Nick Martone. It's the first night of the U.S. Open next Sunday, so you better believe I'm going to have the creator of the viral cocktail, the Honey Deuce, on the show. The Honey Deuce is the official cocktail of the U.S. Open. Nick is rich in the fabric of the beverage world and has so much to talk about. It's going to be an amazing show, and I just can't wait for it. But that's the show for tonight. Thanks for listening and have a great night.
The preceding program is sponsored by Shake It Off Live, LLC.